Alright people, we are back. So recently after that UFC Noche event at UFC 306, the spear and all, where Merab devashwili won. Now on the internet there's like a debate going on, especially like shit ton of memes about UFC is getting boring, wrestlers and grapplers are taking over UFC, yada yada yada, and most important is this photo, Dana's worst nightmare. And to be honest, as a casual fan, I also have my opinion on of this. But mostly if you go on the internet and start looking for shit, you will find there are two types of fan base. Number one saying that wrestling is dominating the sport, it's getting shit, there is no strikers, it's boring, point fighting, yada yada yada. And on the other side people are saying, oh my god, you guys are watching MMA. And then you get mad after you see fighters actually doing mixed martial arts. Now, for you guys, my personal opinion on this is, I do not mind wrestling. I just hate point fighting. Now I understand you guys might be wondering what the fuck does that mean. Well, no need to worry because your boy is here to explain you thoroughly. However, first, before we discuss this opinion, we need to take a step back and unpack the UFC Noche event first, alright? So you can understand my views a little bit better. You see, because when I watched UFC 306, apart from that theatrics, crazy effects, cinematography and all of that at the spear, if you just focus on the event and the fights, the main card of UFC 306 lasted for 4 hours. That's right, around 4 hours. That is 3 hours 55 minutes more than you can last in bed. It was so long that when I watched it, at the end of it, I was just tired. Especially because every single fight on that main card went to a decision. And also on the entire card there was like 11 matches and only 2 of them went to a finish. So yeah, it was very fucking draining. And couple of days back when I went on Twitter, Shin O'Malley is doing this bitching thing where he's saying like he won the last few rounds or something. And you know what, that's why I thought let's go back and watch UFC 306 again. But this time just focusing on the fights and nothing else. And here's what I found out. The first 2 fights on the main card, they were really good. Okay, they were scrapping, there was a knockdown, and there were boxing at the highest level. Not at the highest level, but it was very entertaining. So I liked it. However, both of them went to a decision, which was very emotionally draining. Same goes for the next fight, which was Diego Lopez versus Brian Ortega. In my opinion, this was the true main event of the card, okay? But the thing is, even though this match was crazy, first off, it was very emotionally draining, and even though with the crazy offense that it did, it also went to a fucking draw. Sort of like on how UFC 300, if you remember, Alex Pereira was amazing and he beat the fuck out of his opponent. However, if you look at the crowd, there was not a lot of crazy noise from the crowd or like a crazy reaction. You know why? Because the fight before it, the Holloway Gaethje fight, was so draining as it took all the excitement out of people. Same way I think on UFC Noche, after watching these 2 very decent fights and one really good fight, that was Diego Lopez versus Brian Ortega. The thing was, all 3 of these fights went to a decision. And after that, we had to witness a fight in which it was mostly grappling from Valentina Shevchenko. It wasn't even crazy grappling or exchanges. It was just, I will pin you down and we're gonna stay there kind of wrestling, okay? Which went to a decision. Then we have the Merab devashwili versus Shin O'Malley. Here's the thing, most of us expected Shin to pull off a crazy knockout, which did not happen. And at the last 2 rounds, Shin basically showed very little offense, which was disappointing as hell. Which brings us to the main point of this video. Is wrestling heavy offense starting to be bad for UFC? In my answer, no. Because you see, if you put good wrestlers and grapplers out there who actually hunt for a finish, I like watching them. Example, Khabib. There's a lot of people who actually love him because of his grappling. But the most important thing is, in his championship era, he actively looked for finishes against Poirier, McNugget, Gaethje, etc. On the other hand, if you see someone like Valentina's recent fights, she wasn't looking for a finish. Even though she's a great fighter, she was not looking for a finish. She was mostly point fighting, which people hate. And I understand, she's a great fighter. But hey, don't be a sim, alright? She's not going to blow you, so you can be honest. Her last match was not good. Same goes for Merab. Is he good? Yes, he's very good, he's impressive, and in my opinion, I think he's actually quite entertaining. And I genuinely think he might try for a finish. However, even if he tries, it doesn't happen. Most of his matches, if you have seen, have gone to a decision. It's a fact. That's why people hate that he's a champ. If you still don't get it, I will give you one more example. The best example can be between Islam Makhachev and Belal Mohammad. You see, both are grab-ass fighters. However, Islam actively looks for a finish. Quite honestly, I can say even more than Khabib ever did. But if you look at Pizza Face, he is a point fighter through and through. He never hunts for a finish. I'll be honest, okay? Even though he's a point fighter, his fight against bitch-ass Leon was very impressive. Especially in the first 3 rounds. He was actually aggressive, pushing the pace. However, the last 2 rounds was shit. Like he was just grabbing ass and sitting down. But you know what? Even after that, just because of his aggression in those first few rounds against Leon and the fact that he's, going rogue on Twitter, I kinda wanna see him fight. Mostly against Shaukat because I really wanna see his pizza face get punched in. Anyways, the point is people don't hate grapplers. People hate grapplers who only fight for points and not for a finish. Let's be honest guys, nobody wants to pay $80 to watch control time battle, alright? And that's the point to be made here. And that's why I do not mind someone like Islam Makhachev Kala or Charles Oliveira or someone like Kamshot Chipmunk do their thing, okay? Their grappling is actually entertaining. But I do mind the other fucks because even with all that being said, no need to worry as we all still have good champions. Someone like Islam, Dricus, Espinal, Izzy. Even though I hate her inactivity, however, she's nice. And Pantoja, let's be honest, he's not that boring, okay? He is not that boring. He's just desperate man trying to do desperate things. That's all it is. And that's how I see it. So chill out on the hate, alright? And then, obviously, who can forget the king himself, Alex Poatan Piera. So yeah, life is good, baby. Unless, Khalil wins. But that's not going to happen, right? Right?
I'm gonna kill myself.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.